What is up, my beautiful, beautiful peach? Today we are going to be talking all about our macros and our menstrual cycle. So really getting into the 4 different phases of our cycle, how they actually impact our bloat, they impact our macros, our cravings, our energy. And I want to take a deep dive here because this is actually something that I have been talking a lot about in my Beautiful Peach mastermind. And I was like, you know what? I feel like this just makes so much sense to do a really quick run through because there is so much that goes into this, but a quicker run through for my podcast, kind of giving an overview. And I think something that has helped me personally and also has now been really, really supporting my BPM clients, my coaching clients, is understanding our cycle more and understanding how it plays into our day to day. Because I think a lot of times we will have different such a variety of different things when it comes to our energy, when it comes to our bloat, when it comes to our hunger, when it comes to how we're feeling mentally, when it comes to so many different aspects that play into our overall results and play into our overall, expectations for those results. So having a better understanding of the way that your body is going to, I guess, react. It's not really the best word for that, but react to our different phases of our cycle is so incredibly good. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let me actually get to the good point in my notes here. Where do I want to begin? Let's go ahead and I want to do a quick run through of something that's not necessarily related to our cycle, but is more related to somebody who is just starting tracking their macros. When you are first starting to track your macros, and that might be the very first time you ever do start to track, or when you're actually starting to track the proper macros, one of the very first things I do in a Beautiful Peach Mastermind in my coaching program is I actually do a full audit of your metabolism, your macros, your body, your goals, the whole 9 yards. And I will actually create a set of macros that is going to be the perfect starting place for you. Something to note about this though, is you might have been tracking macros previously. You might have tracked macros before, and I give you a new set of macros that is fine-tuned to you, your goals, your metabolism, your body. You might actually notice a spike in your hunger, and this is completely normal. It's not a bad thing. I think a lot of people associate having a lot of hunger with a really, really bad thing. I've actually also had people, and this is actually a thought process that I used to have, but associate hunger with fat loss. So if you're hungry, it means you're losing fat, which is actually extremely inaccurate. And it's more of just the way that our hunger hormones are regulating, are changing, are adapting, are figuring out what's going on. So when it comes to actual weight loss, that takes a lot of strategy and knowing exactly what's going on with your metabolism. If you are eating a lower calorie intake and it's not enough for your body, it means you need a reverse diet in order to properly lose that weight without having to go into these mass calorie deficits. But that's an episode for another time. If you scroll back into my past episodes, you will find many talking about reverse dieting, healing your metabolism, fat loss, all of those good things. So essentially, many women are used to under eating, and they assume that when their hunger is spiking, when something is going on at the beginning of starting to track their macros, a lot of times they're either number one, in panic mode because they're like, whoa, why am I so hungry? Or number two, they think they are just in some crazy fat loss mode, and neither are actually correct. When we actually start hitting our macros correctly and hitting our correct macros, consistently, our body is actually waking up, our metabolism's waking up, and it starts to signal our hunger hormones and starts to signal them to start triggering correctly. So the big takeaway here is, words are so hard today. It is bright and early. And because we are talking about our cycle, I just started my period and my brain is not functioning the way that I want it to. But I honestly, what a perfect timing for this episode, in all honesty. But the big takeaway for this initial part of learning about our hunger is we really want to know how our cycle can play into our hunger, our energy, our mood, but also knowing when you first start tracking your macros, you might notice a little bit of a kind of a switch in your hunger. Now, that aside, not really fully related to this podcast, but it was something that's related to our hunger and our hunger hormones. And I get so many questions about that from my clients when they're first starting out. So I thought I would just go ahead and take a deep dive in that. And now we're actually going to talk through how our cycle actually impacts our hunger, our mindset, our bloat, our energy, all of those different pieces. So let's dive into this. This is going to be, I'm going to go through each of the phases, and I'm going to start with the first one as the follicular phase. This is the energized phase. This is the week after your period, and a little bit of an overview here, and then I'll start talking into it a little bit more in depth. Our appetite is actually going to be a little bit lower here. We're going to have a good focus. We're going to have a little bit of a better mood, and we're going to have low to no bloat. Something that I do also want to say as we are going into this episode is everybody's going to be so incredibly different. And also you might be you might be literally in your follicular phase. It's actually kind of hard to say kind of fast there. And you're not noticing, or you shouldn't be noticing bloat in this phase, but all of a sudden you have a bunch of bloat. It might be because something else is going on. You might have eaten something that upset your stomach. You might have some stress going on. You might be traveling, other pieces there. So this is when I'm talking about these different pieces, it's solely for our the 4 different phases, okay? So overview for follicular. Appetite's gonna be down, good focus, better mood, and low to no bloat. When it comes to our hunger, because our appetite is a little bit lower, it's a little bit more stable, I want you just to enjoy this, because later on, we're gonna get into when you might feel a little bit more hangry, a little bit more snacky, and having those little cravings. So when you're in this actual phase, go ahead and enjoy it. Your metabolism is in gear. You are feeling good. Your energy is up. You're feeling sharp. And this is actually the best time to dial into your macros. And when I say dial into your macros, I don't mean to actually start hitting your macros. The goal is to continuously hit your macros within that 0 to 3, what I call the safe range, which is 0 to 3. So that can be 3 above or 3 below your macro goals. So for protein, for example, if your protein goal is 103, that means your quote unquote safe range would be 100, which is 3 below that 103, to 106, which is 3 above that 103. So that's kind of your safe range. And it goes the same for your carbs and your fat. So the goal is to still hit your macros. You don't want to just be, not hitting your macros during the other phases. But what I mean here is I actually want you to start making intentions for the rest of the month that actually relate to your macros. So one of the big things that I have actually for my clients, my coaching clients, is they get a habit and macro spreadsheet. It is, I spent so long creating this spreadsheet. I am so nerdy. It is this beautiful spreadsheet. It has a dashboard where it tracks your reverse diet progress, your fat loss progress. You've got a bunch of different graphs. You've got a habit tracker. You've got all of these cool things in there. But the main goal here is I want you to actually start setting intentions for the rest of the month, for the rest of the phases, and kind of getting your mind in a place where you can think through the next phases that are coming into play and kind of start creating a roadmap for yourself for that month. Especially because your brain is feeling sharp. Okay, you want to be intentional about this time and actually use that brain power that you have now, that your body is giving you in this phase. Okay, this is also when you want to start kind of pushing a little bit harder in your workouts. One thing that I personally, there is a way to cycle sync for your workouts, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Something for me personally, because I do strength train. I will continue to strength train through, that's my workout of choice. So through all different phases. And for me, I like right now I'm on my period. So I am lower energy. I don't want to go to the gym, for being totally honest. I'm going to go to the gym because when I set a promise to myself, I will keep it. That is one of the biggest forms of self-care, is actually keeping the promise to yourself. Not only will you feel better, but you will actually be reaching your goals. And you're also now identifying yourself as somebody who is just putting on her big girl panties and doing the hard work, doing the hard things, even when you don't want to. I was talking to one of my friends and she was just really under the weather. I was really under the weather. We were like, whoa, I feel so rough. And I'm like, but we have so much work to do. And we were like, you know what? This is like adult sick. You just have to kind of suck it up and keep going. And yes, of course, take care of yourself. Take that time off. Get your sleep. Like, please don't go work out if you're sick. Like, that's not what I'm saying here. But it's more of the fact that put your big girl panties on and do the hard work. I think a lot of people, we start to identify ourselves as failures, or we start to identify ourselves as someone who is not going to follow through. And the more you go in that direction, the more you actually are becoming that kind of person. So if you want to become the woman that you are proud of, you have to make the actions every single day that woman you are proud of would be making. And so getting completely sidetracked here, but the point with this is I don't even know how I got there. How did I get there? That was the most sidetracked like thought process ever, and I cannot even remember where I started here. But my big point here is throughout all different phases, I am still strength training, but for, my workout today, I'm going to be doing back and biceps, and I'm just going to take it a little bit easier. Okay. I'm not going to be pushing myself extremely hard. I'm also getting ahead of myself because we are not in that phase yet. So I'm going to pause there on that little piece and we'll get to that later. But when we are actually in our follicular phase, it really is hard to say. This is when you're going to be coming out of that period, the period fog, or the period haze, as I call it. And you're going to start getting into a little bit more of those harder workouts, starting to push yourself a little bit more. You really want to take advantage of this energy that you are having and start pushing it a little bit in the gym. Okay. Now, hunger regulation tips here, because our hunger is not going to be super strong right now, but we still want to stick with consistent meal timing, because you might feel a little bit less hungry. You might be more, it might be more possible for you to be like, oh, I'm not really hungry, I don't need to eat, but you want to keep up with your overall meal timing and not actually skip meals, because this is going to mess with your digestion. It can increase bloat. It can mess up with your hunger regulation overall. And so keeping that consistency is going to be huge, not only for now and making sure your body's still regulating nicely, but as you're going through the rest of the phases as well. Okay. Now, something very random almost, but very interesting. And it's not random because it's part of our body, but dehydration can be a point that you want to pay attention to during your follicular phase. Our estrogen actually impacts our sodium and our water balance. Okay, so rising estrogen, I'm not gonna get like too in depth here, but rising estrogen in the follicular phase, oh my gosh, every time I'm saying that like out loud, it's so hard to say follicular phase. But rising estrogen in our follicular phase can actually cause your body to hold on to less water, making you feel less bloated compared to the luteal phase, which is right before your period and also on your period. And because your body is flushing out more water, you need to make sure you're replenishing those hydration levels. And this is going to really support with your nutrient absorption, your digestion, your energy balance, and honestly, your bloat as well. I need to turn my computer gives me thumbs up, and I keep forgetting to turn that off, and I didn't. So I am a huge electrolyte fan. In fact, I actually do drink electrolytes every single day. This is something that I stand by, is absolutely amazing for our energy. A lot of times we think we need to go grab another cup of coffee. We need to go grab, something that is just like loaded with caffeine. But a lot of times we actually just need a better electrolyte balance. So if you're feeling sluggish, you need to add a little bit of those electrolytes. The sodium, potassium, magnesium can help with that hydration balance. And I am a very big person who, because I am like the biggest nerd, and because I like to make sure if I'm ever going to share something with you, I have not only done the testing myself, I have not only, done the research myself, I have done all of the science-backed, I guess research would be a good word here. But basically, I have discovered this company that has these really, really good ingredient electrolytes, and I have become obsessed. I have become so incredibly obsessed. I've been drinking them for many, many, many months, and I actually have been in contact with them, and very, very excited about this. They want to give me a discount code to give to my clients, to give to you lovely ladies. It is a company that it's called O2 Hydration. I don't have the code off the top of my head, but if you want to send me a DM on Instagram, I can give it to you. It will save you money. They have different variety of options. So they've got like the canned version, but they also have the little packets. I actually have both just because for me, I really like, if I'm at home hanging out, I love to drink the canned version. I don't know. There's just something about that feels it feels nice to me to have like my can of electrolytes, and they taste so good and I enjoy it. But I also am on the go a lot. So they have like the little packets, and the flavors are unreal. I am not like liquid IV and all that. And even though they do have the zero sugar, it's just not for me. The ingredients aren't hitting it for me. And if I am somebody who's going to take care of my body, I'm going to do it in every single way there is possible, including like literally down to the electrolytes that I am putting into my body. I want them to be good quality. I want it to be good ingredients. I want it to be all of the best things for my body. So this company is phenomenal. I did not mean this to like literally, I did not mean this to sound like an ad. I genuinely don't mean it to be that way. I'm just saying I'm literally obsessed with the electrolytes. So if you are curious and you're like, hey, I think I want to start adding in electrolytes into my day to day, just send me a DM on Instagram and I can share the not the QR code. Man, words are hard today. I can share the discount code with you. But I'm so obsessed. So obsessed. Okay, so that aside, we really want to make sure we are, again, I am so sorry. I did not mean that to sound like a complete ad. This was just me being like, hey, I really like these. So I'm like giggling to myself because it turned into that, but I'm quite literally obsessed with them. So anyway, moving on here, a couple little recap notes here. The follicular phase is going to be your go-getter phase. You want to use it to your best ability, okay? You want to set your goals. You want to meal prep. So I actually I've started to really get into, I don't like to meal prep because I like to eat different things every single day in the traditional sense of meal prepping of you're going to eat the same thing every single day. But I like to meal prep in the sense of I prepare foods that will help me out in the future weeks to come, in the future days to come, that make it easier to actually hit my macro goals. And also lately, there is a high protein biscuit that I actually want to test out. I found the recipe somewhere and I saved it and I need to make it and test it out. And then I will post it on Instagram if it actually is good. I feel like sometimes when I make things, I'm like, that was absolutely disgusting. Like it really wasn't good, but the person who posted it like hypes it up. And I'm like, I'm not gonna like share that I made this and it tasted good because it didn't. And then I want to make like breakfast burritos. So I will share those on Instagram, either on my story or my main feed, if you are curious about that. But my big recap tips here for follicular phase is to really make sure you are setting your goals. You're planning out kind of like that meal prep, the foods that you're going to want to eat, and really creating your structure for the rest of the phases while your brain is at its absolute sharpest. If you struggle with consistency, this is a really, really, really good time to establish the habits that you will carry with you through the rest of the phases, okay? Now, ovulation's going to be next. This is your peak confidence, your peak strength. This is like my favorite cycle because you're gonna feel so good. So gosh darn good. This is gonna sound absolutely crazy, but a lot of times I'll plan like my social calendar around my ovulation. I am the kind of person where I am an extroverted introvert. So I get my energy refilled when I'm at home, hanging out with my husband, just like in my PJs, just chilling with a glass of wine, with whatever it may be, just kind of hanging out. And of course, I also still want to go see my friends. I want to do fun things. I want to go out and about. So for example, we are in we are in our new home, which is so much fun. We are a few months in, literally like no pictures on the wall. We finally just got some of them framed, and I'm excited to get those up soon. But we want to do a housewarming party, and I'm going to literally plan this during my ovulation because I know that I am going to be more energy forward. I'm going to be less in a place where I just want to like curl up in a blanket on my couch, and I'm going to be a little bit more excited and energy being up. So that is our ovulation is the time where our energy is up, our mood is up, our strength in the gym is up, and our hunger is actually going to be neutral. You will feel on top of the world. Your dopamine and serotonin will actually be increasing, which is also why our mood and our confidence is coming up. There's usually a little bit less bloat or sometimes no bloat. There is, and again, when I'm talking about the bloat things, and I do want to say this disclaimer again, because I don't want you to hold on so tightly to this. Our bodies can bloat for any reason, and every single woman is going to be so incredibly different. But this is just the overall general guidelines for these phases, okay? Now, hunger is neutral. Most women will feel balanced, but note that if you made during your follicular phase, you are already setting those intentions. You have that consistency with your meal timing. You have your goals set. You're going to be taking this into the rest of the cycles, the rest of the phases. And knowing that, you're still feeling on top of the world, you want to continue with that. So you're really building that consistency going into the next few phases, okay? Now, your mood and your energy, nope, I just talked about that one. So this is the best time to really start to push it, give it your all in the gym, trying new PRs, really challenging yourself, really, really pushing yourself, go out, socialize, really just kind of put yourself out there, okay? Something to also remember in this phase, because it is known as like the superwoman phase, definitely own that, but also don't forget to give yourself a little bit of self-care. If you're like me, I can be a little bit over eager and like overexcited. I'm like, wow, I'm feeling so good and I want to do all the things. Make sure you're giving yourself a little bit of downtime too. Don't overdo it completely, but make those big confident decisions. Push your boundaries. Really, really use this as motivation to find that consistency going into luteal phase, which is next, and then your good old menstrual cycle, your period, okay? Now, luteal phase, this is I termed this the why am I so hungry phase. This is the week before your period. Your appetite and cravings are up. Oh, goody. Oh, so very fun. And you are going to be, if this current cycle of mine, my past luteal phase, I don't know. Normally I get cravings. It's very normal for me to have cravings. My hunger's up. Like, I know it's going to happen. Oh my gosh, it was next level this past phase. I am like, Colton, I need you to bring me home donuts. I need you to get some cookie makings. Like, we're going to make some pizza tonight. I was having all the cravings. I was like, I need it all. And the beautiful, beautiful thing about this though, and the beautiful thing about tracking our macros is you can actually be intentional about fitting those yummy things into your macros, because gosh darn well, that you are going to have that increase in your overall cravings. Your appetite will be up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how to navigate that while still hitting your macro goals, okay? You might have a little bit more mood swings. If you're like me, I definitely do. A little bit more stress. So I find that my anxiety, I have panic attacks, and that's just something that is very controlled for me. I'm very open about talking about it. And so for me, like, I can start to tell that I'm going to be a little bit more on that side of some panic kind of trying to creep up, some anxiety. And so making sure I'm really giving myself that self-care, and also mentally knowing that why it is happening can be very, very relieving, okay? So this is a really good time. If you don't journal all the time, I personally do every single morning. I find it to be one of the most amazing tools for personal development and for increasing your overall like emotional intelligence and your knowledge about yourself. Journaling every single day is absolutely amazing. I think I say this in almost every single podcast episode, but the book, 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, will literally change the way you think. And it is the most amazing book ever. The compound effect is going to be really, really amazing if you are, how many times can I say amazing, the word amazing in like one sentence? But the compound effect is really good if you have a quick fix mentality. It's a great way to start working out of that. Start with those two books. They are great. Now, if you aren't already journaling all the time, or maybe you are, kind of step it up with the journaling here. Really reminding yourself that you are really, really capable. Your hormones are just kind of pushing you into a space where you are going to be a little bit more self-critical, okay? This is completely, completely, completely normal, okay? I think a lot of times when we are actually in our luteal phase and we start to have these thoughts of, oh my gosh, I'm getting so bloated. Oh my gosh, I feel like I am like hormonally all over the place. Oh my gosh, my mood swings are crazy. Ooh, I'm feeling so bad about my body. What's really important about this is knowing that all of those feelings are so valid. You are valid in the way that you are feeling. And also to give yourself the self-love of knowing this will pass. Say, hey, I recognize I'm in my luteal phase. I recognize my body is going through some stuff. I recognize that I am going to be a little bit more self-critical. So I'm going to be proactive, and I'm actually going to take action with the self-care that I need to help me through this phase, so I don't just end up in a self-sabotage spiral, okay? How to do this? Plan for your cravings, number one. And I already mentioned this, but fit some fun foods into your macros every single day. In all honesty, you should be fitting fun foods into your macros every single day regardless, but maybe do a little bit more here, okay? This is gonna help avoid those binges, and it's recraving. Oh my gosh, my words are so hard today. reframing that cravings are normal, okay? This is not a lack of willpower. Your cravings are just fine. I have them too. And I have been coaching for over 10 plus years. I have all kinds of degrees. I have all the education. I'm the expert in this industry, and I still have those cravings, and that's okay. There is nothing wrong with them. I still have those days where I just want to curl up on the couch. There is nothing wrong with that. You will not always have motivation. I don't always have motivation. I don't want to go to the gym today, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I know that it's going to make me feel better. Okay. So knowing that all of these things are normal, and Trisket might start barking, fingers crossed she does not. There's some little doggos out there and she's excited to go see them, but she can't right now. But really just knowing what's up with your body is going to help so much. Journaling and mindset work and reminding yourself that you're not failing. It's just your hormones doing their thing. Okay. Gentle movement. All right. So I am still going to the gym today, but I'm going to be a little bit more gentle on myself. I'm not going to try and max out as much as I possibly can. I still will push myself. And that's just me personally. I'm still going to push myself. I'm still going to, go for my higher weights, but I'm not going to go absolutely so hard. And if I am not hitting any kind of like high PRs or anything, that's just fine. That's just fine. I'm going to be really intentional about my stretching, really intentional about my little walks to give my minds a little breather. I'll probably take Trisket to the park later and get some, I hope you can't hear her whining too much. She really wants to get out there. There's a puppy powwow. It's kind of funny, out there, and it's her little buddies. And I feel so sad that she's not out there playing with them. But so hunger regulation tips here. Okay, you know what? I've actually already said it, so I feel like I'm like repeating myself. So I will skip through my notes here. And we are going to move on to our menstrual phase. Yay for a period. This is the ultimate self-care week, okay? Now, our hunger can actually vary. For some women, they feel less hungry, and for others, they feel more hunger, okay? And it also can change up. You're gonna have a little bit lower motivation. You're gonna feel more tired. For me, my whole body feels drained. My face feels dry. I just feel, I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna go pause this because she is a little bit whiny. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, I also recognize I say hold on 1 minute to you, but you have no idea how long it actually was because it's just pausing this, but I am back and it was less than a minute. Now, here, lower motivation, you're tired, more mood swings, and you might start off with some bloat. It might decrease more as your period is ending. It might not. Again, people are going to be different here, but knowing that your body is changing up, knowing that you are, on your period, you are in your menstrual, phase is going to be mentally nice because it allows you to understand what your body is going through and to give it a little bit more care. Okay. So because your motivation is low, because tiredness is common, because you are going to have more mood swings or higher emotional sensitivity. That is me. Yesterday or 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. My days are all over the place. I just like burst into tears at a cute little commercial, and Colton, my sweet husband, was like, all right, it's okay. He's just like an angel of a man. I adore him so much. But give yourself the awareness and that, hey, it's okay. Give yourself the validation that it is okay. All right. More self-care and really listening to your body, okay? If you are in the gym and you're like, this is just not happening for me, this is the worst workout ever, it's okay. It is just okay. Maybe swap your workout for a yoga class. Swap your workout for something that's a little bit less intense. Or if you're like me, just don't go incredibly hard at the gym. Just take care of yourself, okay? Now, for your actual hunger, really prioritize iron. I actually always will. I eat red meat all the time. I have it I was supposed to say every single day, not every single day, but I have it every single week. However, I know that during my period, I'm going to get my steak. Oh, I need to defrost it. I buy Costco steak because they are so incredibly good. And I need to defrost it so I can make my steak. But really, iron and nutrient-dense foods, leafy dark greens, red meat, beans can help with the fatigue. I am a bean fanatic. I absolutely love beans. I do eat beans every single day. I sound so ridiculous saying that, but I absolutely love them. They are a great source of fiber. They are a great source of carbs. They are full of nutrients, so incredibly good, okay? If your appetite is smaller, eat meals a little bit spread more. So do more meals. So if you normally have, say, for example, 4 meals in a day, go ahead and do 6 meals. Make them a little bit smaller because it's going to be easier to digest for your body. Okay. You can do things like smoothie or yogurt or eggs, things that are a little bit easier to get down. If you are more hungry during this phase, go ahead and do a little bit more filling meals that have a little bit more of, my brain is completely forgetting the term. This is so funny. Words are just, I know I keep saying this, words are not wording for me today. Voluminous foods. So foods that have volume to them, okay? And really make sure to continue to drink your water and electrolytes. Dehydration can actually make your cramps and fatigue worse. Speaking of which, I need to go grab my electrolytes. I'm currently drinking, I drink colostrum every day too. That's something I've been doing for 6+ months. And I'm literally obsessed. I am so obsessed with it. I feel like my skin has been so much better. My immune system, so many things. I feel like I could share all this. I feel I should share my morning routine and my day routine on Instagram, because there's so many things that I do with like my vitamins that I take, the colostrum, the electrolytes, the bone broth, all of these things that I feel like I never share, but they are such a huge piece of my life and part of like why I feel my body is in such a good place. Not just because of macros, but the way that I'm feeling it. So I need to talk about that. So if you want me to do day in the life, send me a DM and I will start posting more or not more because I haven't done any, but I will actually start posting them. So in this phase of your period, your menstrual phase, really rest and recharge, okay? Listen to your body. If workouts are feeling harder, adjust accordingly. That is just fine. A few low energy days do not erase progress at all. At all. I think a lot of times we're in this mindset of, if I'm not going all out at the gym, every single day of my life, I'm going to lose progress. And it's really quite the opposite. When you need that downtime, when you need that R&R, give it to your body. That's your body telling you, hey, I need a little breather, give it to it. And that's going to actually help with that rest and recovery and actually going to help that progress go forward, okay? So I hope this helps. I feel like it was like a rough overview of the different phases and kind of how your body can react in those different phases. If you want to learn more, I talk about this in BPM a lot. If you want to learn more, honestly, and this is going to sound odd, I love the Flow app. I know there's so many different apps out there. I personally use Flow, but they have like all these different little like articles and things that you can review to learn more about each of the phases. Make sure you are looking at articles. So the Flow app is trusted. Anything in there is going to be good. But if you decide to like go Google something, just be careful on what you are Googling. I always say this, you really want to make sure your sources are valid. You want to pay attention to your sources, which is why I love personally sharing all this information too. So I hope you enjoyed this. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, then let me know on Instagram. Send me a DM. It makes me so happy. I had a gal who reached out this past week and said she listens every single morning. And I'm like, that just makes my heart so happy. And it just makes me smile so much. Because right now I'm sitting here staring at a computer, talking to a computer. And so when I actually hear that you are enjoying my episode, I see the, hundred of thousands, I see all the thousands of people, when I pull up my website and it's like however many people have seen the episode. But I'm like, wait, but like, I don't know any of your names. I don't know who you are. So it's fun to actually, talk to you and have a conversation. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this so very much. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, beautiful peach.